Please accept Pulinanandji Deepakanandji.
Jai
Jai
Satchidanand.
Satchidanand.
Pulinanandji, please recite the mantra. Everybody follow.
Namo Vitragaya.
Namo Vitragaya.
Namo Hariyantanam.
Namo Harihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Vasayanam.
Namo Vasayanam.
Namo Loe Sawa Sahunam.
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam.
Eso Panchana Mukaro.
Eso Panchanamukaro.
Samabhava Panasano.
Sarvaparapanasano.
Mangalanancha Savesim.
Mangalanam Sarvesam.
Padamam Bhavai Mangalam.
Paramam Bhavai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand Mahatma. Okay. Does anybody have any experience to share about separation?
No, can I ask one question regarding what Deepakanandji was saying yesterday?
Go ahead.
Deepakanandji, when you were talking to Mahatma yesterday, so you were saying that not how to deal, when you're explaining how to deal with a file, means closed file, you said that not to leave it. Means when, but if we don't leave it, then we do too much agra. So what is that point we decide that when to leave and when to not leave, you know?
Can you just repeat? If you don't leave it, what is that?
You were explaining to Mahatma, no, I think Vishali Ben, that that you gave an example when father he was telling what we dealing with our daughter, and then he said, "Okay, I'll you do whatever you like that." Something you told, right? So
Okay.
yeah, but so you said that no, we should not leave. The father should not have left that said like that, you know. So, but what I'm saying is that in a way, the other side, you see that he was. If we don't do, then there's agra, you know, in the interaction. So we have to leave also the interaction. So what is the deciding line, you know, regarding the agra and you know, when to leave and not to leave, you know, how do the vitrag handle this, you know?
See, one thing here, when it comes to righteousness or principle or rule, you can say, then to stick on to those rules or principle or righteousness is not called agra. We have to understand that first, this thing. You leave it aside after a while is a different story. But back of your mind, you will pursue the same thing again and again. You can't just leave because then what? What is the understanding of life? So maybe the father got irritated and he said that, okay, now not don't come to me, don't ask for anything from me, don't ask even money from me. Your mom will give you money, everything you want. Any problem, don't come to me. So that was wrong. But why did that happen? That we have to understand that because mother took the side of her daughter, which was not
So
right. Mother
that
could
is
have very
okay.
well said, better try
What?
to understand what your father is trying to tell you. It is serious matter.
Yeah.
But consistently, she favored, took side of her daughter. So finally, father raised his hand and said, "Okay, done. Don't come to me anymore. Because you don't want to listen to me. Fine. That's what."
Yeah, I understood your point. Mother didn't have the correct thing, but what I'm saying is that regarding the father, say we see from the point of view of the father, what is the best way for the father? Okay, mother is not supporting him, wife is not supporting him. Now, what is the best way for him? Should he remain
No,
silent?
whatever he did, it was a dramatic display of his disgust and disagreement with what she was doing.
Hmm.
You understand? Just imagine, is he going to keep quiet if anything happens?
Hmm.
If he's not, is he not going to respond or take care if she gets into a trouble? Said, okay, I had told you that I'm not going to do anything, your mother will take care. No, he will be doing it. But at times, you have to dramatize certain situations so that the person leaves his or her insistence and try to understand the point which the person is trying to put for yourself.
So the father behavior was okay, or it could be
It
improved.
was okay. It was okay because he was telling her daughter from 4 5 days and even before because we saw that exchange in our presence, but maybe that was going on from maybe another 2 or 3 weeks because it was very lately that she had turned 18 and from 2 3 weeks she was going out and was not coming home early by 10 or so. And that's why was father who had his concern.
So sometimes we have to remain. Maybe father can remain silent also, right? He has to
It
dramatize.
depends. It depends. But see, the way he dramatized, because he showed his disgust, his disagreement. At the same back of his mind, he definitely had a lot of concern for her daughter. So he just said that I'm not going to take care anymore.
So it was okay. He said like that. It means.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, mother should have supported him, which she did not. She supported her daughter.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Yes, okay.
I hope, I don't know, audience got the flavor of what was being talked. Pulinanji,
Okay,
did you
let me
get?
brief it out. I brief it quickly. I'll brief it out.
Yeah.
We had visited a place, and from 3 4 days when we were traveling with the family, daddy was telling her daughter, "You must come early by 10. Don't stay late with your friends, and keep telling us where you're going and all that stuff." So, daughter, she had turned out 18 just a few weeks back, and the day she turned 18, she started going out. She stopped practically listening to her parents, and she was coming late home uh, after 10 and so on. So father had showed his concern repeatedly, telling her, "You must come early, the times are not good," and all that. "Well, I'm 18 now. I know what is good and bad for me. I know how to take care of me," and all that stuff was going on and on and on. And every time we happened to see that her mother was supporting her. She never favored her father. So ultimately, after 2 3 days, father told the daughter that, okay, don't come to me anymore. Go to your mom. She will take care of your all needs. Don't even go for money. She has all the money you need. So here this point had come that how this father should have reacted, or how mother should have reacted. Is there any factor of insistence, agra in this? Was it right or wrong? That was the question posed by Dr. Kashyapji. Jai Sachidanand.
Yes, Sachidanand. Okay, any other questions? Pooja, you have any question, Pooja? I'm sure you have some questions. Pooja?
I can just share something regarding separation.
Okay, go ahead.
The very fact that by grace we are separated from our body self by Dada Bhagwan. So, and that thing is working through Prajna Shakti. It keeps cautioning us of our mistakes wherever we are going wrong and when I listen to the Prajna Shakti and keep correcting myself, keep seeing my mistake, that's an evident indication of separation. Having separated, I am living with separation. That grace is there, but in active form. That grace will work in a passive form. When someone asks you, who are you? Then you say, I'm pure soul with total conviction and decision. That's fine. That is what like passive experience of separation. But active experience of separation is that you come to know most of your mistakes and you keep correcting them. And that is happening so nicely. Dada's grace and all this satsang we get exposed to all day long. Some time or the other during the day, this exchange keep going on. So it helps to increase our vigilance, our decision, and our conviction becomes stronger and firmer. So that's how it helps. So I just wanted to relate the passive separation, state of experience, and active state of experience of separation when it happens like this. So when you are able to see your mistake, correct your mistake, and resolve not to correct, I mean, not to repeat them anytime in future, itself is indication of your separateness, your experience of separation. It's not that I'm separate, I'm separate. We do say I'm separate, and Deepakanand is separate, Deepakanand is relative, I'm real, Deepakanand is temporary, I'm permanent. That is verbalizing it, but this is what you living that separation when you see your mistake and keep correcting them. Jai Sachidanand.
Pooja, you read?
No, it's okay. It's fine. That all of us, all Mahatmas are able to see their mistakes is the proof of or a first order separation during Gnan Vidhi, and it's the proof of Prajna Shakti being active. So it is the Prajna, which is the direct light of the pure soul, which cautions or it alerts. It alerts on the mistake being done by mind, body, speech. So that we are able to see our own mistakes is a proof that we are impartial. We are impartial to our mind, body, speech. We are able to see its own mistakes. And that is true. That is true. One little shade we may add is that at times we should also see whether our intellect is taking over and is trying to protect our mistakes or protect the Prakriti, in a conversation with two people, and when someone else finds our fault or points out our fault, at that time there may be a tendency for the buddhi to justify the actions. So that also, if we are able to watch that the buddhi is trying to justify or protect the Prakriti, that also is a part of observation, part of separation, and separately observing how my prakriti, I am protecting my prakriti, or the intellect is protected, because the nature of intellect is to protect the prakriti, to vote in favor of the discharge prakriti, to find happiness in the prakriti. So that is also one little dimension to observer status. That while the prajna cautions and we are able to observe, and in case we are able to see that even that justification, which is a wrong justification, but as long as we're able to see, it's fine. Then extending the same separation is same. At times, we will observe that even like basic thing like doing our normal daily charan vidhi in the morning, at times it is done very nicely with full focus and attention. At times it is not done very nicely, a rush job, chit not present. So even observing that, oh, you have not done the charan vidhi properly, is jagrati. And then resolving not to repeat that mistake is also jagrati. So separateness has various dimensions. Even while we are at work, initially we may be separate. During the work, we are engrossed in the work, and then after the work is over, again we separate. So that is also there. And in this initial stages, we all are doing Purusharth to remain separate. Till a time will come when we won't have to the Purusharth, the separateness will come little more easily. And further down, as the awareness or Jagrati increases, that separateness will sustain on its own or will come back very quickly. So that is the roadmap of Purusharth to increase our separateness. While what we are all doing is perfect, we are all going in the same direction. So ultimately, it boils down to identifying causes which are hindrance in the separation process. What is that in the discharge prakriti that is working as a hindrance, which comes a temporarily, it's not a permanent hindrance. It just comes and goes like a wave of water, when we are in the ocean, just going for a bath or swim. Temporarily, a big wave comes and it engulfs our vision. Water goes in the eyes, ears, and then again it subsides, and again we are able to see. So such waves of or bouts of Jagrati will temporarily arise and go away. And then working on those hindrances is the key to sustained awareness or sustained superfluous. Then there are n number of Purusharths, as we have been mentioning all along so many satsangs in the Zoom. And each one has to decide which of those he or she needs based on his or her prakriti, and working on it. And there will be many working parallelly also. Many of the Purusharths can work in tandem, can work parallelly together. And that is why this sharing of experience is very useful. Whereas where we come to know from each other's Purusharths that, oh yeah, this also is a Purusharth which can add value to others or help others in increasing their separateness and Purusharth. Jai Sachidanand.
Okay, very good. Shailya,
Jai Sachidanand Pulinanandji, Jai Sachidanand Deepakanandji, Jai Sachidanand Mahatmas. While talking about separation, what I've been trying to do is observe the speech, because that is where it starts for me. I mean, like when I start observing the speech is where I see the, and then from there I'm able to trace back to the thoughts and what prompted that speech. But recently, in last couple of days, when I've been attending some functions in India, when people are like talking about their whatever their experiences or anything, all Vyavaha related stuff. So, the initial thing, I was not able, you start saying something, you start agreeing with them, or, about what their problems they are facing and everything. So I'm wondering, and then I saw today's calendar saying, which is basically about speech and how we have to pray before we say something, and then the way it flows is not as per the pre-recorded speech. It'll be more. Yeah, I guess I don't know how it'll transform. So that's what I'm trying to understand. How will that modify the speech itself, the prayer, or will it? Because right now, the moment it comes out, then I immediately am able to stop and then see, okay, analyze and try to understand where it came from, and I'm trying to observe the separation in that speech at least. So I'm trying to basically, I was looking at today's saying, and I'm trying to understand if that will help, prayer itself before we say anything.
Pulinanandji?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. You see, this is a tool of Purusharth given by Dada Bhagwan. So definitely it will help. And I have tried it a couple of times and it does work. It does work.
Oh, okay.
It does work. You see, I was trying to understand what is the mechanism behind that. How does it work? Because speech is pre-recorded, and basically whatever we have recorded is based on our intentions, in the past birth. That I will not tolerate anyone dominating, for example, or I will always remain very cool and calm, or I'm not going to take things lying down. I'm just going to yell and shout and be dominant. XYZ,
Yes.
whatever intentions we may have, how, as we said. So based on that, the codes of the speech are charged. And that is what comes out by way of discharge if we are not vigilant. On an average, person who is not initiated, who is not separated, who has not got this gnan, obviously for him he'll play out accordingly. For us who are vigilant, we are now by way of Purusharth changing our intention. When that what we say is saying that prayer. We are now saying no. I don't want to hurt, or I may my speech such that it may be, palatable to the other person. May such a speech flow. So somewhere we are changing the intention, so the speech accordingly gets modified. Is my guess of the mechanism that is at play. It works. I was just trying to do the one step deeper down as to how it works. But even if you don't understand the mechanism of it, it does work. Because essentially is intention setting, number one. Number two, even what Dada Bhagwan has said in a different place is that today's gnan or today's knowledge or today's understanding, reduces the intensity of the discharge speech that we have brought. Whatever we have brought, today's understanding can reduce the intensity, and it can be made in alignment with what we want today. So it does work. It does work. And that is the way out for us right now. That is the way out for us right now. Till we come to a stage where our inner enemies of Kashais, growth, anger, pride, deceit, greed, they reduce. Which they are on the path of reduction if we remain separate and allow them to pass away when they are exhausting. So as those Parmanus get exhausted, speech also will become Syadvad, non-hurting, and things like that.
Yes. So is that the pre-planned setup that is mentioned in that? It talked about a pre-planned setup of the speech itself. So most of the time we are just reacting to something that someone said. It may not even be related to us. It might be their experience. But then you're just like, oh, yes, I understand your problem. And then you're actually talking about someone, you're not even like they are talking about someone and you're agreeing with them. So like when you talk about pre-planned setup, so that's where you stop yourself. Is that
the pre-planned setup? What do you mean by pre-planned setup?
Yeah, it was mentioned in that saying, so I'm trying to understand what it is.
Can we just put it? I don't. Let me
Yeah,
just.
if I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if I
going to
can.
share. Hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
hold on. Yeah.
So till Rajni Bhai does that, sometimes what happens is when we are trying to empathize with the other person's,
yes, exactly.
we are trying to empathize with what the
Yes.
other person is saying, what the other person is feeling. There has to be a little bit of caution. I'll just come back to that before. Let me see. But remember to let me elaborate that empathizing point.
Okay.
When we have to converse with someone with whom we do not have a good relationship, then
Huh.
before meeting him or her, we should pray to the pure soul within that person, ask us strength to speak in a manner acceptable to the person. Next, pray to the other for the same, and then speak automatically for her. Yeah. So here it is where we are directly dealing with a person whom we are not getting along well, and we have to interact with him or speak with that person. So this is the setup that we are saying. So this works. This works. This is my experience. It works.
Okay.
This works. Ajay, your pre-recorded was you're saying. So
Yes, this one is what I was telling. Yeah.
okay.
And
Okay.
this is the
This
next
is
one.
second. Let me read the second page. If we
Ah.
speak without praying, then proper speech may not come out because it will flow as it was recorded previously, right? But if there
Yes.
is appropriate pre-planned setup, then due to that pre-planning, speech will get on. Yeah. This is true. That is true. This pre-planned
Okay.
setup is what is that is a mechanism gotvi do to. Gujarati is that if you set up this mechanism or it's a sort of filter, if you set up a filter, then it will not come as it was recorded, but then it'll get modified.
Okay.
Well, it does work.
Okay. Yes.
It does work. So this is
Okay.
the tool for us now. This is the tool for us
Yes.
now in the intermediate state. Till
Yes.
our inner kashais are exhausted or totally reduced. After which it will happen. After which
It'll
it will
come automatically.
It will
Okay.
come automatically. By that time, a lot of changes take place within inside.
Yes.
That is why, in fact, in the further down, somewhere it says we must also ask for a smooth, non-hurting, and a very
Yes.
soothing language. May I
Hmm.
be that it is very smooth and very pleasing language. So all
Right.
are causes which will result into effect coming later on.
Okay.
So it does work.
Okay. Got it.
To elaborate a shade little on what you said was that while we are in a function with other people and they are
Yes.
voicing out their anxieties or troubles or
Yes. Anxiety. Exactly.
and we try to empathize with them. I can understand is one thing, but at times we may also try to say yes, you're right and they are wrong.
Yes.
We should instead of this we should be doing that, you know. Now, is a bit of a caution depending on the case-to-case basis. Then we should see to it that we are not telling them the other person is wrong. While you may be right, so you may say yes, okay, do this, and of course, if it's a Mahatma, we can tell them do Sambhavinika or file. But for a non-Mahatma, in their terminology, see how best they can square up.
Yes.
All I'm saying is you're right and they're wrong. So somewhere we are breaking column one, column two.
Yes. Definitely.
In the sense we say, may I not hurt anyone's ego nor encourage anyone hurting. Na
Yes.
karai, na karavai, karta pate na anumodai. Not to do, not make others do, or not support someone doing it. So we have to be a shared caution. I'm saying it's to case basis, but we have to be a shared cautious that am I supporting someone in hurting someone's ego
Yes. Exactly.
or in someone's dharma or his nature,
Right.
his viewpoints. So this is a very high order of Jagrati and a very high order of subtleness, So that comes in the column 1, column 2, as well as column 8.
Yes. 8 also. Yes.
So whether I unintentionally entering into supporting someone. So when such a thing is there, while we may empathize, that, okay, I understand your feelings, but we have to draw the line whether you're not going overboard where you might indirectly support someone.
Exactly. So that's where the separation thing works, because immediately I'm able to watch the speech and stop it. Though it might come instinctively, it might come, the empathy, then I'm able to at least stop it, the one moment it comes. So I'm trying
But
to observe that. I'm trying to put it in practice, the separation in this case.
no, that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. And that is separateness. That is the
Hmm.
awareness of separateness, awareness of prajna shakti.
Awareness.
And we are in the awareness state, so we stop in our track, sort of, So you see, it works both ways. One is we are separate and trying to remain separate, that I am the pure soul, I am separate from the. One approach is the Jagrati approach, going from that remaining in the pure soul. And this approach is from the Prakriti end, where we are saying that I don't want to hurt anybody by mind, body,
Yes.
speech, my spin, like that. So when that intention setting is done for the discharging Prakriti, we are alerted during the discharge, and again we observe, oh, this is the error, because I have decided it should not be like that. The discharge is the other way. Discharge is
Other
the
way, right.
and
Right.
I am there. So this Purusharth of the discharge Prakriti, not to be in alignment with the discharge Prakriti, but in alignment with the Vitrag, that not to hurt anybody, that I don't want to hurt, indirectly or directly brings us back into the observer status, because we catch, oh, I am doing something which I should not be doing.
Yes, exactly, right.
So that indirectly anchors us back into this soul awareness, and it leads to separation. The point is of I'm just trying to elaborate the point of separation, how it works from
Separateness, yes.
side, one from the real point and one from the relative side also.
Relative, yes, I got it. Yeah.
One from the prajna side and one from the prakriti side.
Prakriti side, yes.
So your example rightly said. So for us, Mahatmas, both Purusharths will work in tandem. Sometimes this will, sometimes the other one will work. Relative and real. So I just wanted to add one little bit, that we have to just see that somehow we don't happen to be supporting the other person while we are empathizing with something.
Yes.
Just a shade of this.
Caution. Okay. Got it.
Yes.
Deepakanandji.
Yes, Sachidanand.
Muted.
Muted, yes.
Deepakanandji.
Jai Sachidanand. There's a wonderful satsang from Dada Bhagwan where he has elaborated in relation to speech. When we do these prayer and our resolve that I don't want to hurt anyone and all that, that is why it is said in regard to speech specifically that it is second discharge. So the first discharge could be anything, but with these prayers and resolution, it changes. In fact, I was trying to look for that portion of a clip which I had distributed in the past, but I'll try to find it out again and send it once again, where Dada Bhagwan has elaborated that so nicely that with these prayers and resolution, it definitely works, and that's why in speech it is called second discharge. What it came on the in calendar, this thing, na? So this is where I wanted to supplement and support this understanding with Dada's satsang, where he has said that with regards to speech, it is second discharge. So it is not like something is recorded and it will play like that. Whatever is in your prayers until now will work. So you always have an opportunity to correct yourself through these prayers and right resolutions. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Now that Deepakanand mentioned, I just recall reading somewhere. He's mentioned second discharge. Dada, so that someone asked, Dada, we as Mahatmas, we will ask for this strength. How will it happen? Dada says, it will charge you. This is discharge. What you're doing is discharge. New karmas are not formed. But then you will charge a new discharge. So someone asks, what is that? So when you are saying that I want non-hurting speech, so you're laying the causes, which will then again come as effect. So it will be a discharge, but
Okay.
a new discharge.
Okay, got it.
And to substantiate that, he gave an example that you feel hungry, then you eat, and then you eat is your discharge, and then you go to the toilet. That is the discharge of the discharge, because
Okay. This.
so same way this asking of strength is a new charge of discharge, which will again result into a discharge of non-hurting speech.
That will be a modified speech. Okay.
Ah,
Okay, got it.
Okay. Jai
Okay.
Sachidanand.
Jai
Thank you.
Sachidanand.
Surabhi?
जय सच्चिदानंद पुलिनानंद जी, जय सच्चिदानंद दीपकानंद जी, and सर्वे महात्माओं on the screen. We often speak about the spirituality or adhyatma, but what is this adhyatma in true sense?
Deepakanji?
Jai Satchidana. Adi Atma. It means to come to Atman face to face. Adi Bhautik is coming face to face, seeking for things on worldly, temporary side. And Adi Atmak means that which will make you face to face with yourself. Okay?
Yeah, right. So, but how one will know that he or she is on the real path of adhyatma?
No, what is Atman? Is a Adi Atman means this, that which takes you to Atman, that which makes you face to face with Atman.
So that can be only after Gyan Prapti, no?
After
After Gyan Prapti.
No, just not that. It's like the path is, so many paths are there, but gradually you are stepping towards yourself, knowing yourself, and that is the finality. That is the final.
No, but
Right.
all the paths leads to know that there is a Paramatma. So they don't describe that Paramatma is your own self.
It's true, but that like a boy who is 5 years old, and he says, I want to become doctor. Want to become a doctor. 10th grader says, I want to become a doctor. One who is 12th grader says, I want to become a doctor. One who is doing medicine wants to be, but he is not become. So he also is seeking his medical school and all that, medical education. So all are saying becoming a doctor, but then that that experience and that stepping or the location where they are is different. Do you understand that? So
Yeah.
every path leads to Adhyatma, that is Atman, only knowing yourself. But then the having self-realization is making it happen in reality. So that's the ultimate. Okay.
To my understanding, that everybody, whatever, forget about our own selves, means we all Mahatmas, general people, they always do some spiritual activity, but that is just to satisfy or just to what is called get the kripa of Paramatma, because they know that the Paramatma is the doer of all these worldly matters. So in that case, it will not be called as it may be helpful, but it will not be called that they are on the spiritual path. So spiritual path only
No, wrong.
start when you want start to know, means know oneself.
He
That
is on the way. He is on the way. Again, for example, if you open the Asta channel or any spiritual channel, everybody is talking about self self-realization. Everybody is talking about knowing yourself, but the path what they are showing and what the path they are walking themselves, they're all different. But then at different stage of development they are there. But everyone is in the path of liberation only. You can't say anybody no, wrong. Do you understand that? But
Ah,
because we have wired self realization, we analyze and judge the other path like this. But it is not like previously we were also like this. So, if we can elaborate, if we elaborate this in a very technical way, in a very technical way, people with that inner very basic development, aborigines, what we can say, or to a little higher version, they are that state is relative. What does
mhm.
that mean? That they are living in relative and they are seeking relative worldly happiness only. They have nothing to do with spirituality and any permanence, all that. Correct?
Barabar. It's okay.
This one.
It's okay.
These relative people are outside India.
Spirituality.
Yes. The second step is they are in relative but seeking real.
Mhm.
So that is relative real. They are
Right.
in relative, but they are seeking real. So this second category are all Indians, basically.
Mhm.
Anybody you talk, you see, then says, why are you doing all this for permanent happiness, to acquire God, to reach God, to know
Mhm.
God, to have permanent happiness and all that? It's relative real. Now,
Mhm.
Mahatmas, they have known their self, so now they are in real,
Mhm. Barabar.
but they are settling their relative through Dada's Agna. So
Right.
Mahatmas are in the third stage, real relative. So all our efforts, whatever Purusharth, what we are doing, is real relative. Being
For
in
our
real, we are getting away with relative.
for our stage is real relative. That I understand. Yeah.
Yes. And Dada state is real. Tirthankar Bhagwan is real.
Barabar.
They,
Barabar.
they,
That's
they
okay.
have got away with their relative. They are free
Mhm.
from. So with this understanding, we can understand that anybody on relative real path or state is seeking spirituality, seeking Atman.
So that means your first category, whatever you told about the first category, relative, they are not on the spiritual path.
No, they have
Mm.
nothing to do with their spirituality.
Right.
In principle. Their,
Right.
their full focus is in five sense happiness and getting comfort, getting uh, accomplish their five sense needs only.
Mhm.
Very typically, all these uh, aborigines, very primordial people, humans, and to some extent, these people in the faraway west,
Mhm.
they don't even do this thing. Even these people, I mean, anybody who does anything praying, they fall into category of relative real. But
Okay.
true, I mean, how do you say, uh, real progress you will see in India where their relative real has taken the shape of a very firm state that they are really seeking permanent happiness or they're seeking Atman, their self.
Okay.
So they are very near to moksha.
Right.
These other outside people, they will not even come across Gnani Purush. And if they come across Gnani Purush, they can get realized, but that level of experience and what they reach is more, uh, how would you say, outside, more relative than real. But still, it is a path. So we can never, or nobody can ever deny that state. but to understand this is the situation.
Right. Mhm. My small question or doubt was there for that relative real. So people in the outside world, they are relative and they are looking for real. But what is the real? For them, there is a karta there is a God there. So why that one will be called as spiritual?
Yes. What even Indians are saying, where many other religions, our Indian religions also say God is doing everything and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not different from, but still they are at a higher level,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
more eligible to receive uh, knowledge. They
Yes.
can become, as I said, I can make anybody with Indian origin God in 1 hour. He must be willing to become one.
Right. Mhm. I understood. Yes, clear.
Okay,
Jai Sachidananda.
Pulinanandji, you want to add something?
Yeah. If I understood Subhaj's question was that outside worldly people are doing prayers and everything to God, but they are asking for worldly comforts and worldly or removal of obstacles. So whether that can be considered as spiritualism or adhyatmic. Am I right?
Yeah, part of that, my question.
So they're all praying to God. They are doing all rituals, doing arti, doing upas and everything. But whether that can be considered as adhyatma.
Yes.
Because there, you see, it is religion. There is the difference between adhyatma and dharma.
Mm-hmm.
Dharma is religion where it invokes spiritual practices and that God is separate and I am separate. And the idea is to be in alignment with God saying, Bhagwan hai aur main bhi hu aur main Bhagwan jaisa बनना चाहता हूँ. But in today's thing, people are praying to God not to achieve godliness or God properties, but to achieve material happiness and material
Right.
things.
Right.
So that is okay. That is part of dharma because he is only seeking material world or real world changes, either removing of obstacles or enhancing of worldly pleasures, more
Right.
money, more assets, more children getting married, etc.
Comforts. Mm.
So that is not spiritualism
Mm-hmm.
because he is not seeking atma. He is not seeking. He is not seeking liberation.
Right.
He's not seeking his true nature. Who am I really?
Right.
He knows that there is a high power up, and if I pray, I will get it.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing others also do who even don't believe in God. I want this, I want this. Why we call as bhavna. They do intention setting. But so all those go in nature and nature fructifies.
Mm-hmm.
Our case, we have instead of nature, we have put God. Oh, God, you will do it for me. God, do this, God, do that. Basically, his or own intention is coming back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so that is one level where he is asking for worldly or material gains, relative gains. Second thing, he may be doing all the spiritual practices, worshipping God, doing arti, puja, upas, all that, to attain his status or his knowledge base or his happiness. God, I want to be like you. And he's coming closer to spiritualism.
Right.
Because still he and God are separate.
Right.
And where he says, no, I want to realize myself and that self is within me and I want to realize myself, then that is where he wants to enhance, where he wants to experience the soul or the self. Then that is, and all activities, Purusharths done to achieve that is the road of spiritualism or Adhyatma. So Adhyatma is coming towards doing anything, all prayers, practices to achieve or
To
to
know
experience.
yourself, to know the truth.
To know your true self.
Right. Actually,
And
this Adhyatma, sorry to Deepakanandji told that one, that I also know that Adhyatma, that is if you break the words itself, so Adhi Atma means it is in front of Atma or you over to soul, something like that meaning comes. Okay. So unless you start looking for yourself or seeking for yourself, so the Adhyatma doesn't start. Till that time, it is just a Parax Bhakti for worldly pleasure or whatever is there. Only doing bhakti. This was my understanding actually.
that is right. So they are praying to God, but for worldly matters.
Mhm.
So it is
Just
not,
to
it is
know oneself, that starts the journey actual for the spiritually.
the spiritual means the word is spirit. Spirit means soul.
Hmm.
That what leads to the spirit, or that what leads to the soul.
Right.
The Atma, so same thing, spiritualism, that which leads to the spirit or the soul.
Right.
True.
Okay.
Anything, Deepakanandji, you want to add?
No, that's what. Wherever God factor comes,
Yes.
spirituality, because they have understood God as giver, protector.
Mm-hmm.
That understanding of God is creator, generator means creator, operator, and destroyer.
Right.
So with that understanding, bringing God as a factor in their life, as a source of creation, source of taking care, and so he's also destroyer. This is where as they improve, their understanding improves, then culminates into real God. That is relative God, but then it's real only, real, but unknowingly. He is kept in the center.
Right.
Thank you, God, you have given me and all that. So it's like how we have four kind of bhakta, the devotees. One is in trouble, he will go to God. Otherwise, he doesn't care about God.
Right.
The second, seeker.
Mm.
Seeker mean he is like mumukshu. He wants to understand what is God and what is not.
Right.
Third is jignasu. Jignasu means he's how do you call that? He really wants to know what is God and what is his function, what does God do, and all that. We see the true seeker of God who wants to understand God. And fourth one is he becomes God and he lives as a God. So there is where Mahatmas come.
Right.
Gnani Bhakti, one who has and lives as self, separate from the body self.
Right. Yes, clear.
Okay, I think we need to move on. Actually, right. Thank you, Miraben. Miraben.
I'm sorry. I thought Kashyap Bhai was earlier. So thank you.
No,
Thank you,
let's go.
Rajnika.
We'll
Thank you.
get him. He already had one turn. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Jai Sachidanand Deepakanandji, Pulinanandji, and Rajnika and all of the Mahatmas. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My question is actually related to what we just spoke about, the intellect and the basically buddhi trying to get to feed the ego, right? To feed this Mira's ego. So I'll explain why I'm asking. I had gone to multiple. Mira had to attend multiple things this weekend. In these events, I am present. I based on your the techniques you've given me in Purusharth, I was always present and watched Mira. But Mira sometimes tends to have this if people talk about Bhagwan, if people talk about things that Mira is not comfortable with, Mira tends to shut down and not say anything. Okay, Mira doesn't say anything. But coming home, I have noticed that Mira is feeling bad. Bad because this warehouse of, previous Janma items have come and sown, and Mira is also becoming worried that and it becomes this doom loop cycle, like, okay, am I should have said something, but I didn't say anything because it's not good for me to say something, but this and that, and I am watching. How can I watch and clear these thoughts, or should I just keep watching all these thoughts go round and round, and each time just say, this is discharge? How do I do that? I, as in me. Yes.
Deepakanji.
Yeah. See, Meera,
Hmm.
first we are in intermediate enlightened state, Antaratma state.
Hmm.
And our Antaratma state is not very advanced in the sense, in any situation, the discharge is going to take over us and put us down. Although our conviction is there, although our prayer is there, but the force of the discharge is very strong. It
Okay.
is not able to face or take care of this force, our decision, our resolve to remain in Agna and all that stuff. But that absolute state of Vignan Swarup is working passively. So at the that particular moment when that force is there, it is working passively, and we get driven away by the force.
Hmm.
But the
Hmm.
moment that force reduces, this thing takes over and tells you, "Hey, you went wrong."
Hmm.
So this is
Hmm.
where you start correcting yourself.
Okay.
So it is like the force. That's why it is said
Hmm.
it's a mandatory karma, nikachit karma, which every one of us have to pass through.
Okay.
The
Okay.
stickiness doesn't allow us to remain as I am pure soul with that separation. But the
Ah.
moment the force goes down little or little more,
Hmm.
immediately this vigilance comes and, oh, I'm pure soul, I'm separate from this. How did I get driven away by this and all that?
Yes. Yes.
How could I
Correct.
speak like this? How could I do this like this? How could I think like that? So now
Yes.
take over and you'll start correcting.
Okay.
And eventually, as this process goes on, the time between happening of the discharge and your correction will keep reducing, keep reducing, keep reducing. And the time will come wherein this mistake goes on. I mean, it just happens and you correct immediately. It happens and you correct immediately. And then
Okay.
a time will come proactively, it will act and it will not allow you to come out itself. But then that force would have reduced drastically, which is not now. And we haven't done anything in that regard. Just think, what have we done? Dada said, I have spent lives behind this, correcting myself. But you have got a crumb straight godhood state, supreme godhood state. And in that supreme godhood state, awareness, we are actively in this intermediate enlightened state, antaratma state.
Ah.
And
Ah.
that is the reason in our supreme godhood state, which is acting passively,
Hmm.
we are able to understand Mira's mistake at the same time mistake of our intermediate enlightened state of
Yes.
Purusharth. That's
Yes.
why we correct both.
Yes.
Mistake that is committed on the relative side by Mira at the same time vigilant state, active vigilant state now. And that vigilant state keeps improving, goes better and better as our understanding improves. So this
So,
is the process we are in.
so Deepakanandji and Pulinanandji, so you know in the Namkar mantra where we say Eso Panchana Mukaro Sava Pava Panasano. This will also help in reducing these kashas, correct?
Of course,
Okay.
of
So
course,
as
it is working.
so
But
as I
our
huh,
stock is huge. And also one more thing. How many times are you doing it? Oh, as per Dada, he has said 5 times in the morning, 5 times in the evening. Is that enough? You work 12 hours a day for your money, and for this, you work 405 minutes. And his burden is so much.
no, I am now saying it every time I feel not I
No,
in
no,
the same state affects me.
I have just given a very brief or
Yes.
evaluation,
Yes. 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 Yes.
analysis.
Yes. Yes. And
Our
the other
desperate? Are we desperate to get away or free ourselves from these entanglement? Just imagine this problem what we come across. The desperation is not there, but the desperation is definitely there to earn money, and which we get obviously.
Actually, thank you to Satsang and thank you to you and Dada. Now it's the opposite. I'm desperate for that state, not
Good.
this. So, but
Okay, one
yeah.
more thing. I'm making an analysis and a judgment. If that is there, then in the middle of the night, even if you wake up, you'll start doing your prayer, you'll start asking for strength. And if you start feeling sleepy again, then you'll go to sleep.
Yes.
I have seen Mahatmas of this level. They are so desperate, they're just into it. They say, I am immortal, मैं अविनाशी हूँ, मैं अविनाशी हूँ, 1,000 times. I wouldn't want to hurt anyone through my mind, speech, and body, and all that. Any living being on the earth. He says this for 500 times. He starts and he just does it for 500 times. Every phrase, I mean, every line, he will say 100 times, 200 times, like that. And so, with so much humility and modesty, he says, am I doing right? And he says, I'm not doing, I am pure soul. I'm telling this file to do all this. That's it. He's so desperate, he wants to keep awake all 24 hours in the Kirtan Bhakti. Now see, this desperation, that is, I don't see in myself all that. But it's a good lesson for me, it's a good thing for me that yes, you must have that kind of desperation. That's really something. I mean, this is just an evaluation to understand, are we really desperate to know, understand Dada? Then there are so many questions which remain unanswered, for which we have to think and contemplate seriously and come to that resolution and start doing it. Although it is not our doing, but that conviction is necessary. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Pulinanji, you want it?
No, it's fine. It's all covered up basically. It's all covered.
Okay, very good. Our time is up, so Deepakanandji, do 3 months, and please everybody follow.
Namo Vitragay.
Namo Vitragay.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Vajrayanam.
Namo Vajrayanam.
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam.
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam.
Eso Panchanamukaro.
Eso Chanamukaro.
Tava Pava Panasano.
Sarva Pava Panasano.
Galanam Chasave Sim.
Mangalanam Chasavesam.
Paramam Havai Mangalam.
Paramam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.